Hello student, myself Digan Sakhiwala. I am your science sir. Today we will continue chapter number 14, natural resources. Dear student, last time we learned about the lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere. By their interaction, biosphere come into existence. Dear student, we also learned that how the wind is formed. Wind is always blow from the higher pressure to the lower pressure. We learn about the formation of the rain. So when the evaporation occur, by that way evaporation of water occur, by that way the grouping of water droplets occur in the cloud, and by that way the rain formation occur. Dear student, today we are going to learn about the soil and minerals of soil. Okay, so step by step we will start. Mineral riches in the soil. Soil is an important resource that decide the diversity of life in an area. So dear student, what happened here? We find so much diversity on the earth. Like in my area or my village area, I find so many animals are there, so many microorganisms are there. Why I find this all? Because soil is so much rich. As soil is more and more fertile, more and more animals are depend on it. Okay, so we find a different type of diversity around us. It depend on what? Soil. The outermost layer of our earth is called the crust. So outermost layer of the earth, that is called the crust, and in the crust different type of minerals are present, and on that the different life is possible, because as minerals are more present, soil is more and more fertile, then more diversity are there. And the minerals found in this layer supply a variety of nutrients to the life form. Okay, so mineral rich soil provide the nutrients to the different life form of the earth. Okay, mainly three type of elements are very important. One is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Okay, they are, in short, they are called NPK. These minerals will not be available to the organism if the minerals are bound up in the huge rocks. So generally the soil formation occur from the rocks. Okay, we will learn later on. So minerals are present in the rocks. So first the rocks would convert into the soil, then after the mineral is available to the soil, to the plant, and plant to the different type of animals. Over long period of time, thousand and million of years, the rocks at or near surface of earth are broken down by the various physical, chemical and biological process. So initially rocks are come in the existence, and after rock soil come in the existence. So how the rocks are break down? Rocks are break down due to the so many chemical processes are there, some thermal reactions are there, or it is possible because of the biological process, some lichen is developed, some moss is developed there. Okay, or it is depend upon the some biological process. So it depend upon the physical, chemical and biological reaction. For the rocks are converted into the soil by three process: physical, chemical and biological process. The end product of this breaking down is the fine particle of the soil, and afterwards the rocks are break down into the very fine particle and soil is obtained. Okay, so we will learn here that what are the factors responsible to convert the rocks into the soil. The factor or process that make the soil: the sun. The sun heats rock during the day so that they expand. Okay, so what happened here? Generally in the daytime, because of the sunlight of the sun, it fall on the rocks and the rocks are expand. Okay, we know that whenever the heat energy increases, the length of the or the size of the rocks is also increases. We know that on the railway track there is a gap between the railway track, between two tracks there is a gap. Why? Because of the heat energy, this track is start expanding. If you not keep the gap there, then they will be bent. Same way rocks are starting expanding because of what? Sunlight of the sun. Okay, because of the heat energy start expanding. At night these rocks cool down and contract. These all part of the rock do not expand and contract at the same rate. This result in the formation of cracks. Ultimately the huge rocks break up into the small pieces. Okay, so what happened, dear student? Initially daytime the rocks are expanding, but at night time temperature is not exactly go down, as well as second thing is that different part are different way they cool. Okay, the cooling is not same in the rock in the night time, and because of that reason cracks are produced in the rock. As cracks are produced, slowly they convert into what? Soil. Water helps in the formation of soil in two ways. One, water could get into the cracks in the rocks formed due to the uneven heating by the sun. Okay, so water also play major role. Water is passed from the rock where there is a crack are there. Okay, and because of that reason the rock is divided into two or more parts. If this water later freezes, it would cause the crack to widen. We know that whenever we take small amount of water and put into the freezer, okay, coldest part of the freeze, then what happen? Its volume is increase. Okay, if we take the 500 ml of water and we try to convert into the ice, the volume of ice and volume of water is different. Volume of ice of 500 ml water is more than the 500 ml of water in the liquid form. So by mistake, if or purposely, if the water is freeze into the rock, then the volume of the water or ice is increases, and because of that reason the rock is break down. If this water is later freeze, it would cause the crack to widen. Flowing water wears away even hard rock over the long period of time. As the water continuously passes from the rock, then it can also break down the rocks. Fast flowing water often carries a big and small particle of rock downstream. Okay, so fast flowing water often carries the big and small particle of rock downstream. So what happens? This broken part of the rocks are going by the water to the downstream. These rocks rub against the other rocks, and the resultant abrasion causes the rocks to wear down into the smaller and smaller particles. Now these small particle of rocks are strike or they are collide with or abrasion occur, and because of that reason the rock particle convert into very small and small particles. The water then takes this particle along with it and deposit it in further down its path. Soil is thus found in the place far away from its pattern rock, and because of that reason from the rock we get the soil. Okay. Wind. In a process similar to the way in which water rubs against the rocks and wear them down, and strong winds also erode the rocks down. Because of the very high wind, the small particle of rocks again convert into the very small particle of rocks. Okay, erosion occur or living organism. It also influences the formation of soil. The lichen also grows on the surface of the rocks. So living organism also play a major role. So if there is a lichens are there and they develop on the rock, then rock is started break down. While growing, they release the certain substance that causes the rock surface to powder down and form thin layer of soil. And because of the lichen and other microorganism, okay, or plant, the rock surface convert into the powder form and form a thin layer of the soil. Other small plants like moss are able to grow on this surface now, and they cause the rock to break up further. So other small plants like moss are able to grow on this surface now, and they cause the rock to break down more and more. The roots of big trees sometimes go into the cracks in the rock, and as the roots grow bigger, the crack is forced bigger. Sometimes what happen, in some rocks the plant roots are entered in the crack. As the length of the root is increases, the crack of the rock is also increases. Soil contains small particle of rock. It also contains a bits of decayed living organism which is called the humus. So some living organisms are also present in the soil, that is called the humus. Okay. So soil contains small particles of the rock. It also contains bits of decayed living organism which is called the humus. So in the rocks, very small part of the rocks are there. In that living organism is present, that is called what? Humus. In addition, soil also contain the various form of microscopic life, and soil has also various microscopic life is present, like earthworm is present, different type of bacteria are present. The type of the soil is decided by the amount of humus and the microscopic organism found in it. So the type of the soil is decided by what? By the two way we can decide. The humus is present, amount of humus, and the microscopic organism found in the soil. Humus causes the soil to become a more porous and allows water and air to penetrate the deep underground. Okay, so because of the humus, the soil is becoming more and more porous. Okay, and allows water and air to penetrate. So water and air is easily penetrate deep underground. Okay, dear student, we will learn about the soil erosion, okay, and fertility of the soil. So we will start. The minerals, nutrients that are found in the particular soil depends on the rocks it was formed from. Okay, so which type of nutrients are available from the soil, it depends upon the rocks. The nutrient content of the soil, the amount of humus present in it, the depth of the soil are some of the factors that decide which plants will thrive on that soil. So which plant will develop on the soil, it depends upon the rocks. Okay, so that rock, in that how many nutrients are there, and how, from that rock which type of soil is obtained. Okay, on that it depend, as well as it depend on the humus also. Okay, the topmost layer of the soil that contain humus and living organism in addition to the soil particle is called the topsoil. Okay, so we can say that the topmost part of the soil, that is called the topsoil, and contain humus and living organism in addition to the soil particle is called the topsoil. So top part of the soil which contain the nutrients, humus, that is called the topsoil. The quality of the topsoil is an important factor that decide the biodiversity in that area. Okay, so topsoil decide the biodiversity in the area. Soil is more and more fertile, more biodiversity are there, more animals are depend on it. Use of fertilizer and pesticide over a long period of time can destroy the soil structure, and by killing the soil microorganisms that recycle nutrients in the soil. Okay, so when we use more and more fertilizer or pesticide, it kills the many microorganisms present in the soil. Okay, so because of that reason, whatever nutrients they are fixing in the plants, that will be reduced. It also kills the earthworm which are instrumental in the making the rich humus. Okay, so earthworm is very useful to make the rich humus. So if we use fertilizer and pesticides more in amount, then maybe earthworm is also destroyed by the fertilizer and the pesticides. Fertile soil can quickly turn barren if sustainable practices are not followed. So if we not care of the fertile land, then it will be converted into the barren land. So we have to do some sustainable practice to maintain the fertility of the soil. Removal of useful component from the soil and addition of other substances which adversely affect the fertility of the soil and kill the diversity of organisms that live in it is called the soil pollution. Okay, so suppose we use some unwanted thing in the soil, we add something which destroy the microorganism present in the soil. Okay, and that all is called the soil pollution. The soil that we see today in one place has been created over a very long period of time. We know that soils are formed from the rocks. Okay, so it takes long time to make it. Some of the factors that created the soil in the first place and brought the soil in the first place may be responsible for the removal of the soil too. Okay, so whatever the requirement are there to make the soil, like wind is important, as well as we can say that water is important, it also destroys the soil. Okay, the fine particle of the soil may be carried away by the following water or wind. So maybe it may happen that fertile land or their outer layer can be gone into the water, or we can say that fertile layer will be removed by two way. One is water and by the wind. Water is in the form of what? Flood or heavy rainfall. If all soil get washed away and the rocks underneath are exposed, we have lost a valuable resources because very little will grow on the rock. Okay, so soil if the washed away and the rocks underneath are exposed, so we have lost a valuable resource because very little will grow on the soil. The roots of the plant have important role in preventing the soil erosion. So what is the function of roots? They hold the soil together, and because of that reason, whatever, if the flow of water is high in the flood situation, then it holds the soil so hardly that because of that reason fertile land is not going into the river, pond, or it is in the ocean. The large scale deforestation that is happening all over the world not only destroys the biodiversity, it also leads to the soil erosion. Okay, so plant stop the soil erosion. Okay, it hold the soil so tightly. Same way deforestations are there. Because of the deforestation we have so many problems are there, like we know that amount of oxygen we want for the breathing that is available by the plant, as well as plant also consume carbon dioxide. Same way, if we destroy so many plants, then maybe soil erosion is also increases. Topsoil that is bare of vegetation is likely to be removed very quickly, and this is accelerated in hilly or mountain region. Okay, so topsoil in that if the vegetation are there, vegetative plants are there, if it is removed very fast, then it accelerates in the hilly or mountain region. Okay, this process of soil erosion is very difficult to reverse. We cannot reverse the process actually. After that we have to plant so many plants. Okay, vegetative covers on the ground has role to play in the percolation of water into the deeper layers. So soil in that different layers are there, and the filtration process is easily done by the vegetation cover. Whatever plants are there that filter the water properly, and the water is going inside of the different layer of the earth. So dear student, this is all about the today's portion. Today we will learn about the soil erosion that we have to stop. We learn about the deforestation. We learn that how the rocks are converted into the soil. Okay, and how the nutrients rich soil is formed. We have to stop using the pesticide fertilizer more in amount. Okay, thank you so much.